Today, I'm making a full tutorial for you on how to run Facebook ads in 2023. And this is going to work if you are an SMMA agency owner, if you are an e-commerce store owner. It's basically the only guide that you're going to need on how to run Facebook ads in 2023. And my last video on this got over 120,000 views and the support was just insane. People have been asking me pretty much daily on when I will do a video like this for 2023. So today I'm giving you one promise. And the promise is that this video is all you're going to need. I'm not here to put a course in your face or try to sell you on anything. This is just all the information that I know about how to run ads on Facebook put into one video. It's going to go over absolutely everything, so do not click off because I'm going to promise you that this is the best video that you're going to see on how to run Facebook ads. So let's get straight into it. I built out a big PowerPoint. I'm also going to go inside of one of my own ads managers and show how I run ads for one of my clients, but I know you all want to get into it, so let's check out the PowerPoint that I built for you and let's take it step by step. This is a slow video, but it's going to teach you everything you need to know. So SMMA, service delivery sold. Now, as I said in the beginning, this is a step-by-step video. And if you are not an agency owner, if you run your own e-commerce store, you're doing drop shipping, this video is still going to be relevant for you. But my channel is about SMMA, running a marketing agency. So that's why that's also in the title. But this is relevant to pretty much everyone running Facebook ads, regardless of if you have clients or you do it yourself. Before you run ads on Facebook, there's a couple of things you need to know. So make sure that you got these things prepared. The first thing you want to have prepared before you run your ads is a Facebook pixel install. Now, the Facebook pixel, for those of you who don't know, is the thing that makes you actually able to track your ad. Because let's say that we're selling a product or a service and our ideal audience is 60 years old and we can't even see which demographic is purchasing our product or service or signing up for the appointment. Well, we're not going to be able to really scale the ads to really get results out of it if we don't even know who's actually interested in it. So the pixel is what allows you to actually track the performance of your ads, and you can search up a simple tutorial on how to set it up. It's very, very easy, but you shouldn't need that either. But anyways, the second thing you're going to need is to know how to use their ad account, because you're probably completely new and you don't understand that, but I'm going to teach you all of this in this video. The third thing you need is to figure out how to pay for ads. If you are working with clients for your own agency, you want to make sure that the client pays for the ads. They should have their payment details inside of the ads manager already, whether they're using PayPal or card payment, that's whatever. I mean, that's up to the client, but they should already have the payment information inside of there. As you guys know, you never pay for the ads. The client pays for it unless you run your own dropshipping store or something like that. And the fourth thing you're going to need, and this is very, very important, but most companies will already have this because you shouldn't work with just really bad companies that are just starting up, is a verified business manager. So what is a verified business manager? Well, it's basically a business manager where you have put in the company documents, and pretty much any company you're going to work with out there already has documents, so it's not going to be a problem for you at all. But on Facebook, what can happen if you run ads on an account that's not verified? You might actually be getting banned. So I'm going to put a screenshot right up here on how to verify it. It's very, very simple. You can send this to your clients, or if you're doing dropshipping or things like that, you can go ahead and verify your own ads manager, because this is important. Facebook don't really like to work with businesses that are not verified. It might actually ban you, and once you get banned on Facebook, you're going to have a pretty big problem. But I'm going to touch on how to avoid Facebook bans later on in this video. So one thing we have to talk about is what makes a good campaign, because the thing you have to understand is that if you do not have the right types of product or a good service, basically what I'm saying is if you do not have a good offer, you're not going to be able to get good results with your ads. Listen, you can be as good as you want to with running Facebook ads, but if you do not have the right offer, the right product, or the right service that the customer will actually be interested in, it's not going to work. And I've seen so many e-commerce stores contacting me saying they spent thousands of dollars on running ads without any results, and these are very often dropshipping stores. What I end up telling them after checking out their campaigns and making a couple of adjustments is that the product is just not good enough. It's not going to work, and it's maybe not something new. So we have to create a very unique offer, because the thing is your ad has to align with your offer. And if you do not have a good offer, you can be as good as you want to with running Facebook ads, but it's not going to work. So what you have to understand is that on Facebook, the product, service, or offer is absolutely everything. The second thing you're going to need is the creative. The creative is also everything on Facebook. The creative is basically the video ad, the picture ad, what you're showing to your customer. And I advise you to go with multiple of them. You should have a couple of videos or a couple of pictures. Just make sure you never rely on only one creative, because at the end of the day, even though we have our own eyes and we can see what we think will be a good video ad or picture ad, Facebook at the end of the day is going to know it better than us. So it's always worth for you to test with multiple pictures or multiple videos. And do not click off, because I'm almost about to show you inside of one of my own ads managers, breaking down exactly how to run ads like none of the other gurus has probably ever done for you before. So stay tuned for that. The third thing that makes a good campaign is the marketing angle. This is basically your approach. So that could be a product that has 5 different functions. it removes acne, it helps with aging, it helps with wrinkles, it helps with blackhead. You can go ahead and pick your own approach, which one of those you're going to target, but a marketing angle is way more than that. What types of pain point are you going to go into on your customer? Are you going to use an emotional trigger to make them purchase, or are you just going to take a cool marketing angle? It all depends. For some products, it's emotional. If someone struggles with pain and have to go to the chiropractor, that's a good marketing angle. But if you're just selling cool types of sunglasses for an e-commerce business, you're not going to go super emotional, right? So you have to have the right marketing angle with the right creative, and you have to have the right offer as well. With these three things combined, you should have a very good chance at running successful Facebook ads. The fourth thing you're going to have, and this is very important, this is how we get a high click-through rate, is the right types of audience. What types of interest should you target is probably your question for me right now, and all of that is going to be revealed in just 1 or 2 minutes when we go inside of my Facebook Ads Manager. The first thing you have to understand when you're doing ads is the click-through rate, and I'm going to explain that here in a second. But if you want to have a high click-through rate, basically who clicks in on your Facebook ads, how big of a percentage of the people that sees it clicks, right? So if you look at it as my YouTube video right now, let's say 100 people sees it, 7% clicks, then I have a 7% click-through rate on this video. On a Facebook, you want to have at least 3 to 4 to 5% click-through rate. So if you want to have the right customer, you need a high click-through rate, which you can get by having a good creative, but more importantly, the audience you're actually showing it to. So let's go through the Ads Manager structure. Okay, so now that we're inside of my Ads Manager, you probably are very confused, because the first time I went into Ads Manager, I was also really confused, but I'm going to make this as simple as possible for you. But I understand that this is going to look a little bit confusing. The first thing we have to look at when we're making a Facebook ads campaign is the actual columns that we set up. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of weird metrics there, such as results, amount spent, budget, reach, purchase, ROAS, CTR, checkouts. We have a lot of different things, and I want you to set up your Ads Manager properly. The most important metrics to see here is going to be your click-through rate, the amount of leads or purchases you're making, and also the ROAS. So let's look at it right here. We can come up to the columns here, and we can actually go ahead and customize the columns. So if there's something in this video that I don't mention, that means you don't have to worry about it either. So don't go later and think like, should I do this? Should I do that? Henrik didn't mention it. If I don't mention it, you probably don't need it. So the first thing we're going to need here, you're always going to have a basic layout. So you're always going to have delivery and things like the budget, etc. But the important metrics to have is going to be the results, which you should have already. I also want you to have the reach on your ad sets. I want you to have purchase ROAS, so we can just search it up, all of the metrics up here. ROAS, make sure you put all of these to total. That's the one that actually matters. If you're doing e-commerce, you can also use checkout initiated and also add to cart. So we can search that up right here, add to cart, add payment info. We can search up a lot of things here, right, that we can actually put into our Ads Manager. Some people want to have the CPM, some people want to have the CPC, but I don't really stress about that. I don't think it's that important. So what you want to have mainly is the actual ROAS. You want to have the click-through rate of your ads. You want to have checkouts if you're doing e-com. You can have the reach. You can even have link clicks, which I think will be relevant to add right here. But then you're going to go ahead and save the preset down here and call it whatever. So mine is called Henrik Mastermind, but you can call it whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's up to you. So you come in here, and this is the campaign. We have campaigns up here. We have the ad sets, and then we also have the ads. But what I want you to focus on right now is the campaign, because that's the first thing we're going to set up. So now you might be asking me, how do we actually launch ads? And I'm going to explain that to you right now. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set up a campaign. I'm not going to set it up now because it's not needed, but you want to set up a campaign. So I'm just going to edit in on this one, and then you want to make sure you go for conversions. Do not have CBO on, do not have this one on right here. Just keep it off while testing. It's a very good feature when you actually start scaling your ads, but we will talk about scaling here in a second. Let's actually talk about getting started. So as you can see, we have a couple of different ad sets here, and under each ad set we have 2 different creatives. So we have 2 different videos for this case, but you can have whatever you want to have here. That's totally up to you. So we're going to launch a simple test campaign. So what we want to have for a test campaign is we want to run our ads for $10. If you are selling a high ticket product, let's say you're selling something for $60, $70, you could technically test with $20 ad sets. And if you're selling something that's like $100, $120, make sure you always test with $20 ad sets, because it's not going to work so well, because how are you going to spend $10 to make $200 back? Not as realistic. Now, we can still work, but I don't recommend it. So for a test, we're going to do $10 a day. And then for the countries, that's up to you. I'm going to show you some tricks on that in a sec, but let's go over all of this first. We're doing worldwide because it's an e-commerce campaign for a physical product. If you are working with a dentist or a chiropractor or a gym, you're not going to go worldwide. I'm going to show you exactly how to target for that. But for this case, we're going worldwide. If you are doing the same, here is a list of countries you can exclude. So just screenshot that. The ages, we leave it super broad, 18 to 65. We do all genders unless it's a gender specific product. And then we always use the detailed targeting expansion button if you have it. Now, there's some ads managers that don't have this button. If that is you, then you can just go ahead and ignore it. But if you have it, I do advise you to actually use it because it's very good. It leaves Facebook some room to do kind of like more more what they want to do with their ad. And when you run Facebook ads, it's important to trust Facebook because they are going to know better than you. And even me, I've been advertising for 6-7 years now. I still leave it up to Facebook because I understand that it's a system and an algorithm, and they are at the end of the day going to know it better than you. For the placements, I would go with Advantage. I would just go with all placements, and your ad might not fit everywhere. That's completely fine. So how do we launch the ads? I made the super simple layout from you. I actually took it from my old video because it still really applies. You want to run $10 a day, as I just showed you. You want to run 1 interest per ad set, and I'm going to show you how to choose interest in a second. You want to run the ages 18 to 65, and then you want to pick out your country, whether you're going worldwide, the top 5 countries, or you're going to a specific city. If you're doing lead generation, then you want to do 2 to 3 creatives. So that could be 2 pictures and 1 video. It could be 1 video and 2 pictures. You could even do 4 creatives. That's fine. But if you're running with $10 a day, let's assume you are running 4 creatives. That will be approximately $2.5 per. Now, Facebook is not going to spend it like that, but we're going to look at it like that. They might spend $6 on 1 creative and $2 on the other ones. That's totally fine. But you can have 2 to 3 creatives. Now, if you have 4 because you really found a good video and you want to run with 4, that's cool. Just go for it. You can run with 4. That's fine. But what you want to do is you want to run 1 interest per ad set. So as you can see here, we're going to run 7 ad sets. Now, my PowerPoint didn't let me put up 7, so it says 6. But you guys should run with 7 ad sets. I'm holding up 8 fingers now. 7 ad sets is what you guys are going to run. So in each, we're going to run them the exact same. The only thing we're going to change is our targeting. If you're doing local lead generation for a small city, you can run ads with no targeting. That's going to work fine. But if you're running for e-commerce, or it can still work in lead generation as well, then you want to run with 1 interest. So the only difference between your ad sets when you're testing a product is that you change the interest. So we can now go back to my campaign. There we go, back in the campaign. So you guys can see here we have names on each ad set, and I'm just going to expose the interest to you. You can go ahead and use them, but maybe not if you're not in the exact same field as I am. But if you're in healthcare, I'm just going to give away some interest. These ones are pretty good. I'll show you guys all of them. It doesn't matter to me really. But as you can see, each name here is the ad set name. So the ad set name is the name of the interest, okay? So as you can see, ignore the errors. It's not relevant for you. I brought up one of my random ads managers that I think is the most relevant for this video, which as you guys can see is turned off right now, but don't worry about it. This is just an example. You are not going to have errors. So oxygen is the name of the interest. That means that we also name the ad set the name of the interest. This is just a simple trick to keep track of it. So as you guys can see, for a testing campaign, we have 1 on the left here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So we have 7 ad sets. They're running at $10 a day. Now this one says 25, but ignore that. I'm just trying to give you guys an example, right? But the point is, for a regular testing campaign, you want to run with 7 ad sets and you want to run $10 a day. So your client or your e-commerce store, whatever you're working with, is going to look at spending around $70 a day when first starting. So how do we choose good interest is something we're going to talk about right now. But let's first, I'm going to show you a little trick when it comes to targeting if you're doing lead generation. So we're going to go ahead and just get all of this out of the way. Now all of that is gone. Let's say that we were to work with, for example, a gym in Los Angeles. So what we can do then is we can search for the city, and I'm just going to search that up right now. So right now we search up Los Angeles, and as you guys can see, we have a 40 kilometers radius. This is pretty big because in a city like this, you can probably imagine there's going to be a lot of gyms. So we can't target this whole place. So your gym probably has a location. So let's say that you're working with a gym that is, for example, in Burbank right here. What we can do is we can drag and drop a pin, because if we target the whole city, which I think has like 5 million people, I don't know, but when I was there was a lot of people. So what you can do is you can drag and drop a pin right here, or you can just drop it simply by, seems like it's acting up now. There you guys can see. You can drop it right here, and then we can delete our current location, which is the whole city of Los Angeles. And then it's still pretty big, because even in like this circle for such a big city, there's going to be tons of gyms, right? So what we can do is we can actually adjust the kilometers right here, and you guys can put the pin wherever you want to. If you want it more specific, that's obviously up to you guys. But if the gym is right here around the number 5, as you see in screen, this is a good area, but we could probably go a little bit broader. Now, I'm not going to say to you exactly how broad you're going to go, because you're going to know better than me if you work with a client. But the point is, this is how you can target specific areas. And inside of this bubble, you can probably reach the whole thing. I mean, we could probably reach, let's put it to 6, see what happens. Yeah, so we could probably reach this whole circle, if not even more, for just $40-50. I don't know exactly, because I haven't targeted this specific city before, but for a very small amount, you can actually reach a whole local town. So if you're working with a chiropractor in your local town who has like 30,000 people, you could probably reach the whole town for $70-80. So now you see how lead generation is actually pretty easy. Now you have to get the right targeting. You want to make sure you have the right offer, because if you don't have the right offer, that could be for a gym, for example, get your first 2 weeks free, and then people are going to come from your ad to get the first 2 weeks free. If you do not have an offer that aligns with your ad and is actually good, it's obviously not going to work for you. So what we can do is we can select what we want the customer to do. We can select, for example, example, add to cart as the thing, because every ad has a small button, right, that says shop now, sign up now, get more information, get an appointment. So if you're in lead generation, for example, you could use something like get more information, make an appointment right now, sign up now, things like that. If you're in e-commerce, you can use shop now. I would honestly only use shop now if you're in e-commerce, and e-com is still a very good niche for SMMA. Even if you are a beginner, the gurus tell you otherwise, but it's simply not true. So how do we target? First of all, for some scenarios, you shouldn't even target. If you're going very like small in a small town, you don't have to target. But what you want to do is you want to find interest that's related to your product. So let's say you're selling a healthcare product. You want to target interests such as preventative healthcare, medicine, heart. As you guys can see on the left there, we were selling an oxygen product, so we targeted oxygen, targeted family, because we figured out people that's interested in family are probably interested in oxygen. Not interested in oxygen. Everyone is interested in oxygen, but more so interested in healthcare. That's what I was trying to say. If you guys go up here and type in interest, we can use the suggestion side here, right? I wouldn't go with really like so many demographics, but as you guys can see, you can target parents with kids in a specific age. So Facebook is really good with targeting compared to TikTok. If you want me to make a TikTok ads tutorial, just let me know in the comments. But as you guys can see, on the suggestion field, we can get tons of new suggestions that we could use for other interests, because we're going to run with 7 ad sets, right? So here we could find some running a product with family as an interest. Maybe the parenting could be a good one. Parents all could be a good one. Maybe married could be a good one, in a relationship. But you guys get it, right? There's a lot of good interests we can use. For example, home could be a good interest for this product. But the point is, you want to make sure to understand how to actually target, which is relatively simple. And if you can use this button, definitely make sure you go for it. So now let's say that you set up your first campaign and you run it for 24 hours, which is exactly how long you should run it before making a decision. This is the scenario right here. You run it for 24 hours and there is 0 sales or 0 leads. What I want you to do then is to cut the campaign and relaunch. If you are doing your own dropshipping store, you can even change the product because it might not be working. You want to pay attention to your click-through rate despite the niche you're in, okay? If you have a 3% click-through rate, maybe it's worth relaunching, finding new creative or new audience. Because the thing is, if you want to have a high click-through rate, which is one of the most important things on Facebook, you want to make sure you have a good video ad, yes, or photo ad. But what's actually just as important as having a good creative is having the right types of audience. So you could relaunch a new campaign with 7 ad sets, choosing new interests. But the point is, if you have 0 sales, relaunch it, try to do some new things, try to get some new interest in, some new targeting, maybe change the creatives. Scenario 2 is that you have 1 sale, then I would just leave it running another 12 to 24 hours. And for sales, I also mean leads, whatever you guys want to call it. So don't care about if I say sell. Leave it running another 12 to 24 hours and see what happens. If it gets more sales, then you can actually get into the scaling phase. But let's say that you get 2+ sales. What you're going to do then is you're going to add new audiences and cut the bad ones. So let's say you have 2 audiences that has very low amounts of link clicks, doesn't have any add to carts, or it doesn't have any purchases or anything like that. It's just spending without any results. You can cut 2 to 3 ad sets and you can exchange them for new interest. So let's say that our ad set that's called heart and oxygen doesn't work. We can cut those 2 ad sets and we can exchange them for 2 new interests, right? And run those up. So I want you to base your new interest and your new targeting based on what's been working for you in the past. Don't go and try to like reinvent the wheel and find too much new stuff. Now, if you have 3 sales and specifically in 1 ad set, it's time for you to scale. And I'm going to show you now exactly how to scale your ads. All right, so now you guys can see we're inside of Ads Manager. Let's just sort it up here. As you can see here, we have a couple of ad sets. One of the ad sets here is sitting at 3 sales. That's a 2.6 ROAS, so it's like somewhat decent. Sitting at 3 sales, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and duplicate it. And then there's a couple of changes we can make inside of it, right? And this is what you do for every single ad set that has 3 sales or more. The first duplicate you can make is you can just duplicate it and put it to $25 a day and publish it. So this is vertical scaling. Vertical scaling basically means that you are upping the budget. You find an ad set, is working well, it has 3 sales, you just duplicate it and double the budget, or put it from 10 to 25. If you have already done that and you still have 3 sales, there's more duplicates you can do. You can literally just duplicate it and copy it. So you make the exact same ad set for $10 a day over again. This allows Facebook to find new segments of the audience. So you're giving an ad set that already has 3 sales a new life, a new chance to re-optimize and maybe find a little bit of a better audience. So it's always worth to just make some copies of your ad set too. And lastly, if you have the button, the detailed targeting expansion button, make sure to also split test that button because it works very, very well. So whenever you get the chance to see this button that we just saw here not too long ago, here it is. Make sure you split test it. So if it's on, you duplicate and turn it off. If it's off, you duplicate it and turn it on. And just by changing this specific button, I've had ad sets go from a 7 ROAS to 14. That means we're doubling the profits and doubling the sales just by clicking 1 button. So it's very, very powerful. So these are your first changes that you're going to make when you have an ad set at 3 sales. You do a $25 duplicate, then you do a copy, then you split this expand detailed targeting button. So your goal now that you have ad sets with 3 sales, 3 leads, whatever, is to start milking ad sets. So every day you have something that's working. You want to add a couple of new audiences daily, a couple of new interests every single day. And then your goal now is to get multiple ad sets up to 7 sales in order to start scaling vertical and very aggressive using CBOs as the main method. So as you guys can see, we obviously have that. Here is one ad set, and ideally will be different audiences, but it doesn't have to be. So here we have family, it's sitting at 10 sales. This one is sitting at 14. We have another one sitting at 16 sales, and then we have one sitting at 11 sales. So they all fit the criteria. This one is sitting at 6 sales, but we might as well just throw it in. It's almost 7. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate these into a new campaign, okay, which is going to be a CBO campaign. So basically you duplicate it, then you select new campaign right up here. You can call it CBO, whatever. And this is when we're going to let Facebook do their job, okay? We're not going to just spend our own money anymore. Facebook is going to do everything for us. So if we go into the CBO campaign here, we select conversions or whatever. Here you also have lead generation. Then we're going to turn the Advantage campaign budget on. So each ad set inside of this is going to equal $50. If you don't understand what a CBO is, I'm going to tell you right now. CBO is campaign budget optimization. Here it says Advantage campaign budget. Basically what it means is you let Facebook spend money where they want to. So if you have 3 ad sets and you're running it for $200 a day, Facebook could technically spend $150 on one ad set and just $25 on the remaining one. So you let Facebook find your winning ad set and you just trust them. This is why it's important to have data before you run the CBO, because if you're going to leave it all up to Facebook to optimize, you should really have some data first so they can actually optimize. So for every ad set, we're going to add $50. Now let's say we're making a CBO with 4 ad sets. All 4 ad sets has 7 sales each or more. And someone asked me, does it have to have 7 sales in a day? No, just 7 sales in total. 7 sales each. Let's say we have 4 ad sets. That's going to be 50 times 4. So that's a $200 a day CBO. And then we're going to run it for 24 hours, 30 hours and see when it works. One thing you have to understand about your CBO is that it just takes off. It can take 10 hours with 0 sales, 0 engagement, and then the 12th hour it gets 5 sales. So CBO is very aggressive and it kind of explodes. So do not get scared if it doesn't work. And what I'm going to tell you is if you have the results that I just told you, 7 sales plus in multiple ad sets, CBO will work at least 8 or 9 out of 10 times. It's very, very sustainable. It's very reliable. So don't be worried just because now I'm finally going to start spending big bucks, because $200 a day is a lot, man, compared to running $70 a day in ad sets, but it's going to be worth it because CBO pretty much always works. So now a couple of things we have to talk about is the metrics you want to look at, okay? The most important thing when you first start is the actual results you're getting. It's not the ROAS. It doesn't matter how profitable you are when you start, because you could have a bad audience, right, and still make sales. The more we scale, the deeper we get into the scaling phase and trying to make more and more money, the better our ROAS is going to be, because we're going to start eliminating bad audiences and we're going to start to find better audiences. So expect your profits and ROAS to increase over time. It doesn't have to be high when you're testing. When you're first starting out, what you want to pay attention to is mainly the click-through rate and also the results. Are you making sales? Are you getting leads? So you guys can see we don't have the best click-through rate here. Our highest performing one is 3.94, but this is also over a very long time span. When we first started it, it was a little bit higher. But if you have a click-through rate under 3%, you should really just relaunch your campaign, find a better audience, because look at it like this. It's statistics, so it's not completely accurate. But let's say that you have 100 people on your website with a 1% click-through rate. That would mean that with a 5% click-through rate, you would have 500 people in. So let's say 1 out of 100 buys, you get 100 visitors with a 1% click-through rate. That's 1 purchase, right? If you had 5% click-through rate, you would technically make 5 sales. If we base it off the data, obviously it's not super completely accurate. The point is you want to have your click-through rate at least above 3%, but I would say 4, 5, 6% is pretty much necessary very often. Now, not always, but it's a very good metric to look at. Then we have the ROAS, how profitable it is. So the 2 things you want to pay attention to is it generating leads, is it generating sales, and what is the ROAS? So you need to calculate your break-even ROAS, which very often is around 2. Are you profitable? That's the most important thing to look at there. Now, you don't have to kill an ad set just because it's not profitable. You could technically relaunch it and find a new one. That's totally up to you. But the most important thing to look at when you first start out is the actual sales you're getting. So if you have a low click rate, what you can do is you can duplicate some of your better ad sets into a new campaign. And as you guys remember from the PowerPoint, we put 2 to 3 creatives under each one. You can duplicate, let's say right here, 3 good performing ad sets. We can duplicate, let's say 4 of them into a new campaign. We'll put $25 under each one of them. And we'll put like 10 creatives under each ad set. 2 pictures or 4 pictures, 6 video ads. Some video ads where we change up the first 5 seconds. Some video ads where we, change everything. Basically a bunch of different creatives into a new campaign. And then we're going to see which new creative has the highest click-through rate. Then we're going to take the best performing creative and bring it back into our current campaign. So every day you want to make sure to pay attention to click-through rate, and you also want to maybe even once a week, as much as that, introduce new creatives into new campaigns to see if you can find a higher click-through rate campaign. But also understand that your audience is very important. If you do not have the right audience, it doesn't really matter what your click-through rate is, because it's just not going to work. When it comes to getting banned on Facebook, you want to make sure that you run it as an admin through someone else's account. Do not just run ads on your personal account. So let's say you have a friend, you are going to invite yourself, and just Google it. It's very simple. How to invite someone to Facebook Business Manager. send an email to yourself, invite you to the ads manager, and run it from there as an admin. Then you are not going to get banned from advertising, at least very rarely, because if you get banned, things are going to get really hard. So with this tutorial, it's pretty much going to be like all you need to run ads. It's not that hard. You just need to have a proper strategy. And I also made a free training. Once again, it comes with no upsells, none of that. It's just in my Discord. So if you want to get in the Discord, it's going to be linked in the description. It has a full free training on how to start SMMA. Is really good in my opinion. So I hope that you liked the video. If you did, remember to click a like on it and subscribe. And yeah, I'm uploading like 2 times every single week. So I'll see you all in the next video.